Assalamualaikum and good morning. Yang berbahagia Encik Nataza Haris, Chief Executive Officer of Invest Johor, Official Representative of Yang Amat Berhormat Menteri Besar of Johor, Yang berbahagia Datuk Said Muhammad Said Ibrahim, President and Chief Executive Johor Corporation, Yang berbahagia Encik Khairul Kamaruddin, President and Chief Executive Officer Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, Yang berbahagia Encik Asnul Hadi Yub Aziz, Director of Corporate Banking Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, Senior Leadership from Johor Corporation and Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, Datuk-Datuk Senior Officials from the State and Federal, Speakers, Partners, Stakeholders, Ladies and Gentlemen. Distinguished guests and esteemed attendees, it is my privilege to welcome you to the second series of Malaysia's Economic Outlook 2025 by Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia's growth. Today, we will be discussing the exciting prospects of Johor's development and its growing influence as a driving force for Malaysia's economic growth. We have an inspiring lineup of speakers who will share their valuable insights on this topic. To commence this event with blessings, may I invite Imam Muhammad Zaini Yasnun to lead us in the recitation of Dua. Please welcome.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, all praise we give it to you, Allah, for the blessing from you. Gratitude is expressed to you in every opportunity and occasion given. We are given chance to be together in the Economic Outlook 2025, Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia's growth today. When we pray to you, Allah, this forum will give us useful input to remember. Ya Allah, on this auspicious morning, we express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend this forum. We seek your blessing for our gathering here today. Make us disperse in peace and protection from sin. Ya Allah, bless Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad and Johor Corporation for initiating today's forum to explore Johor role as a key driver of Malaysia economic growth, focusing on its strategic advantages, investment, opportunities, and future development potential. O Allah, most merciful, we ask for guidance of every plan and decision so that we always be under the shade of protection, safety, and find inner contentment for the trust given to us. Show us the way of difficulties, ease in every problem, and be blessed with success in the end of the road, not only the world, but the hereafter. Ya Rabbul Arshil Azim, guide the state of Johor and the nation of Malaysia toward greatness and prosperity, when all matters are under your control and the success come only for you. Ya Allah, Ya Qadir, you alone have all power over all things. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Imam Muhammad Zaini Yasnun. We pray that this event is blessed and proceeds smoothly and successfully until its conclusion. Next, we will present special corporate videos from Bank Muamalat, Malaysia Berhad and J Corp showcasing their vision, mission, and contributions to the financial landscape. Let's watch these videos together.
Today's fast-paced world, we all strive for financial stability and security. At Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, we understand the importance of making financial services accessible to all. Our mission is to bring better lives together for both communities and businesses. We offer a range of services to help manage your finances and plan for the future. Our savings and investment products are designed to help you achieve your financial goals. While our home financing solutions make your dream of owning a home a reality, we also understand the challenges faced by small business owners. That's why we offer a suite of business banking services to help you manage your finances, grow your business. From business financing to cash management solutions, we are here to support you every step of the way. We are committed to a sustainable future by providing eco-green financing for renewable solutions and supporting businesses that strive for low-carbon operations. At Bank Muamalat, we believe in giving back to the community through our corporate social responsibility (CSR) initiative, iTechad Bank Muamalat and Wakaf Muamalat. Whether it's providing financial literacy education or supporting local entrepreneurs, we are proud to play a role in building stronger communities. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad is more than just a bank. We are a partner in your financial journey, here to help you achieve your goals and dreams. Join us for better lives together.
In a world where progress often comes at the expense of our planet, one institution dares to redefine the future of sustainable human experiences. At Johor Corporation, we believe in creating equitable wealth, built on sustainability, made of togetherness, not just for now, but for generations to come. Our pioneering efforts have birthed many firsts in the future. We own, operate, and manage one of the largest data center parks designed with sustainability in mind. We raised the bar for healthcare with Malaysia's largest private hospital network, accredited by Mayo Clinic Care. We moved markets by listing our car, the world's first Islamic. And we are also spearheading the first agriculture digital aggregator in the nation. We excel at what we do because we're not just building facilities, we're crafting ecosystems. Ecosystems that thrive on efficiency, sustainability, and resilience. Our deep expertise is the cornerstone of creating environments that answer tomorrow's challenges today. From building and owning hyperscale data centers that would act as the backbone to support new smart megacities, to seamlessly serving the needs of the community, one of the largest facilities management markets in the world. We will be the guiding post to a greener, brighter future. Our commitment is to a healthier tomorrow, where technology, people, and care converge. It starts with providing quality education for our healthcare practitioners to learn and grow, and then integrating advanced healthcare solutions and services that cater to the ever-evolving needs of a growing nation. Cultivating a more resilient tomorrow, we harness cutting-edge technologies to feed the nation and safeguard food security. A tomorrow that promises more for the people and the businesses. Johor Corporation is here to partner with you in your journey to strengthen your footprint to achieve sustainable growth and success. We're not just imagining this future. Let's build a future we are all proud of.
Thank you. We hope these videos have provided you with a deeper understanding of Bank Muamalat's and JCOB's commitment and strategic direction. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to invite Encik Khairul Kamarudin, President and Chief Executive Officer, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, to deliver the opening address.
I took the wrong time to take the sweets. Tertelan nanti. Anyway, kena pakai teropong. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia Datuk Syed Muhammad Syed Ibrahim, President and Chief Executive Johor Corporation. Yang berbahagia Tuan Haji Natasha Haris, Chief Executive Officer of Invest Johor. Our esteemed speakers and moderator for today. Our valued corporate clients, thank you for making the time. Very good morning to everyone. Again, thank you for joining us today at this second event of Malaysia's Economic Outlook 2025 series. This gathering provides us with a vital platform to discuss the theme Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia's growth, a topic that carries immense significance to our nation's future. We are honored to be joined by distinguished experts, our chief economist, for one, Dr. Muhammad Afzal Nizam, who will provide economic insights. Dr. Azmi Hassan needs no introduction, a renowned geopolitical expert. I've been to one of his sessions before. He will tell you how he transferred from geopolitical, or he will give you a definition of what geopolitical is. It's something to listen to. Then we have Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman from Putra Business School, whose expertise will deepen our understanding of Johor's potential and ever-engaging potential, and not forgetting Tuan Amin Idris, who will moderate this dynamic discussion today. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, we find ourselves at the crossroads of opportunity and transformation. The world is changing rapidly, driven by evolving technologies, as we see in the video, shifting geopolitical dynamics, and the urgent need for sustainable practices. Amidst this landscape, Malaysia's economic future remains bright, and Johor stands poised to be at the forefront of this progress. Johor's strategic location and rich resources have long made it a cornerstone of Malaysia's economic framework. With its position as a gateway to Singapore, one of the world's leading financial hubs, Johor offers unparalleled opportunities for trade, investment, and collaboration. This includes the upcoming Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, which is expected to create 20,000 skilled jobs for people on both sides of the causeway, covering the zone for business and investment of Iskandar Development Region, and Pengerang also aims to support the expansion of 50 projects in the first 5 years and cumulative of 100 projects in the first decade. This proximity has fostered a thriving economic relationship that continues to propel both states forward. The state's contribution to Malaysia economy are both substantial and diverse. In 2023, Johor's GDP reached an impressive 148 billion, making it the third largest contributor among all states, accounting for 9.5% of the national total. Johor is home to industrial zones that anchors Malaysia's manufacturing prowess, producing electronics, petrochemicals, and palm oil products that are essential to our export. I saw a friend of mine who runs a palm oil, yes, Cik Alwi. Thank you for coming. At the heart of Johor's industrial success lies its world-class infrastructure. The port of Tanjung Pelepas, PTP, one of Southeast Asia's most advanced ports, handles over 9 million TEU annually, linking Malaysia to global markets and reinforcing its status as a major logistics hub. The Iskandar Malaysia Development Region, with its significant investments, stands as a testament to Johor's potential, driving innovation, job creation, and global talent attraction while championing sustainable initiatives like smart cities and green energy solutions. Johor's strengths grow beyond its infrastructure. With a vibrant and dynamic workforce that drive its growth, investments in education and skills development ensure the state remains competitive in emerging sectors like digital economy, green technology, and advanced manufacturing. By focusing on fintech, creative industries, and sustainability, Johor is positioning itself as a leader in future industries. At Bank Muamalat, we recognize Johor's role as a critical growth engine for Malaysia. Our mission is to empower business, entrepreneurs, and individuals by offering financial solutions tailored to their needs. SMEs, which form the backbone of Johor's economy, are at the center of our efforts. A little digression. When we talk about SME, yes, it contributes 60% of GDP, 33% of GDP, employs 60% of the population. But when you dive in deeper, when we actually to SMEs, asking them, do you have entrepreneurial skills? Zero. They are entrepreneurs because they don't have a suitable job. So we shouldn't be always proud telling people we are SME based. But the actual fact is that they cannot get a job. And the SMEs that we interview, 9 out of 10 will say, I am selling goreng pisang because I cannot find a job. So that's the reality. But I think this needs to be discussed later. No holes barred. Again, from the marketing and the strategic marketing perspective, yes, Malaysia as SME, good. But it's because people cannot find a job. So that's something we need to keep it close to our heart. In alignment with Malaysia's broader goals, we are also committed to promoting sustainability. Our financing for green projects and Sharia compliant financial products reflects our dedication to advancing responsible economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to Datuk Syed Muhammad Syed Ibrahim, President and Chief Executive of Johor Corp, and Tuan Haji Natazha Haris, Chief Executive Officer of Invest Johor, for their esteemed presence. My heartfelt appreciation also goes out to our distinguished speakers and moderator for their upcoming invaluable contributions. Inshallah. To our clients and partners, thank you for your trust with us. Your support inspires us to innovate, grow, and succeed together. Let today's discussion serve as a foundation for transformative ideas and partnerships that will shape a better future for Johor, Malaysia, and the world. Inshallah, together we will be able to unlock new possibilities and build a nation that thrives on resilience, sustainability, and shared prosperity. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Encik Khairul Kamaruddin, President and Chief Executive Officer, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, for your inspiring and forward-looking speech. Next, we have the privilege of hearing the speech from Datuk Syed Muhammad Syed Ibrahim, President and Chief Executive, Johor Corporation. Let's give a round of applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to every one of you. Yang berbahagia Encik Nata Zaid Haris, Chief Executive Officer of Invest Johor, Official Representative of Yang Amat Berhormat Menteri Besar of Johor. Yang berbahagia Encik Khairul Kamaruddin, President and Chief Executive Officer Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad. Yang berbahagia Encik Asnul Hadi Aziz, Director of Corporate Banking, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, senior leadership from Johor Corporation and Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, esteemed panelists and speakers of the upcoming session that we are going to hear after this, Datuk, senior officials from the state and federal bodies and agencies, speakers, partners, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. First, a sincere thank you to Encik Khairul and the team at Bank Muamalat for bringing this important conversation to Johor. It is always encouraging to see industry leaders creating platforms that bring stakeholders together, ensuring that discussions on Malaysia's economic outlook are timely and action-driven. The theme of this forum, Malaysia's 2025 Economic Outlook, Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia's growth, is timely. As highlighted earlier, Johor contributed 148 billion ringgit to Malaysia's GDP in 2023, making up 9.5% of the national economy. This reinforces Johor's position as a key driver of Malaysia's economic future. As we discuss the 2025 economic outlook, it is clear that Johor's ability to sustain the momentum will depend on how we navigate global shifts, whether in supply chains, trade policies, or technological advancements. This forum provides the ideal platform to address these challenges and unlock new opportunities for the region. Our purpose of creation, membina dan membela, is sacrosanct. It defines how we create value and enable sustainable communities. This commitment guide our role in driving economic development, fostering innovation, and strengthening social resilience across Johor and beyond. That is actually JCOP. And JCOP is focused on shaping new economic frontiers. Catalytic projects such as Ibrahim Technopolis or IPTEC, Serenat Tech Park or STEP, and Ibrahim International Business District attract investments, create jobs, and accelerate industry transformation. These initiatives support Johor's ambition to be Malaysia's leading economic powerhouse by 2030, inshallah. Economic progress depends on strong partnerships. The private sector, government, and investors each play a role in shaping Malaysia's economic trajectory. As Johor strengthens its position as a key economic driver, this forum provides a platform to explore strategic opportunities and unlock new areas for collaboration. Today's discussion are focused on moving forward with clarity and purpose. Together with Bank Muamalat, this forum is designed around three key objectives. First, clear economic insight help businesses and investors make informed decisions. The 2025 economic outlook will present key trends, risks, and opportunities to navigate the year ahead. Second, Johor's investment potential continues to expand. This forum will highlight strategic opportunities, infrastructure readiness, and policy enablers that make Johor a competitive destination for businesses. Third, partnerships drive economic expansion. Forums such as this bring together investors, business leaders, and representatives from the state government to discuss opportunities and create pathways for investment. Beyond understanding the data, today's discussions must translate into actionable strategies, ensuring that Johor's growth story is backed by real investment, policy enablers, and industry-led initiatives that create sustained economic value. Driving investment is one part of the equation, but delivering impact requires execution. Strategies must be transformed into projects. Policies must translate into industry growth, and investment decisions must be backed by real economic progress. This is where CEREBRUM plays a critical role. Jacob established CEREBRUM as a think and do tank to move strategies into action. It serves as a platform to connect expertise, mobilize partnerships, and translate insight into measurable impact. At its core, CEREBRUM drives execution. Through research, collaboration, and industry engagement, it supports initiatives that strengthen Johor's economic landscape. Its role is defined by three key functions. First, a network weaver, connecting policymakers, investors, and industries to align efforts. Second, a thought leader, providing research and insight that support business and policy decisions. Third, an action driver, ensuring that strategies turn into real economic impact. CEREBRUM is designed to create real-world outcomes. By bringing together industry leaders, researchers, and professionals, it fosters discussion that lead to tangible progress. I encourage all of you to connect the team after today's forum, explore synergies, and be part of shaping Johor's future. Global shifts in trade, technology, and industry are reshaping economic landscapes, and Johor is well positioned to capitalize on these changes. The ability to attract high-value investments will determine how quickly we translate these advantages into long-term economic growth. The JSSEZ provides a strategic framework for cross-border industrial expansion. However, success will depend on execution, ensuring infrastructure, incentives, and policies align to attract and retain global businesses. Economic momentum is really growing. Infrastructure projects are advancing, new industries are emerging, and investor confidence is rising. The JSSEZ will drive further expansion, strengthening Johor's position in cross-border trade and investment. Johor is also transitioning towards a more technology-driven economy. The integration of automation, digital twin technology, and AI-driven logistics will enhance supply chain resilience and improve efficiency. Johor has strong fundamentals for investment. Among others, first, strategic location. Positioned at the heart of Southeast Asia's trade and commerce network, offering direct access to regional markets, supply chain, and investment flows. Second, integrated logistic infrastructure, anchored by Port of Tanjung Pelepas, or PTP, a global transshipment hub, and Johor Port, a key industrial gateway. The JSSEZ ecosystem enhances regional connectivity, leveraging the strategic locations of Senai International Airport and Changi International Airport. Third, investor-friendly policies. Johor Fast Lane has facilitated 38 investments worth 52 billion ringgit, expediting approval. The Investment Malaysia Facilitation Centre Johor, or IMFCJ, streamlines investor processes, creating a single window system for business facilitation. Fourth, competitive talent pool, supported by Tibet initiatives, higher education institutions, and cross-border talent mobility under the JSSEZ. And last, thriving industrial ecosystem, home to high-growth industries including advanced electronics, agri-tech, and logistics, supported by world-class industrial parks. Jacobs remains focused on industrial transformation, smart city development, and sustainable economic expansion. Our initiatives are designed to accelerate industry growth and strengthen Johor's long-term economic resilience. Flagship projects like Ibrahim Technopolis and Ibrahim International Business District, led by JLand Group, support industry growth by creating investment-ready ecosystems that attract businesses and talent. JCOP enables the development of high-impact projects that strengthen Johor's key economic sectors by driving catalytic initiatives and fostering industry partnerships. We support the expansion of priority industries and integration into global value chain. A strong workforce is critical in sustaining Johor's growth. JCOP invests heavily in industry-driven skill training through Johor Skills, TVET program, and sector-based training partnerships. The focus is on equipping talent with skills such as in advanced manufacturing, digital economy, agri-tech, and renewable energy, areas that will shape Johor's economic future. Johor is positioned to play a pivotal role in Malaysia's economic trajectory. As we navigate the opportunities and challenges for 2025, the focus must be on execution, ensuring that strategies translate into meaningful economic impact. Forums like this are critical in shaping perspective, fostering collaboration, and identifying the pathway for sustainable growth. The insights shared today will be instrumental in driving informed decisions that shape Johor and Malaysia's economic future. With that, once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Bank Muamalat for coming up with the initiative to work together with us in bringing together to Johor a knowledge-sharing session, a thought-provoking session that Johor, all this while, in fact, are actually in dearth of having this kind of event. But going forward, we want to make sure that we will be having more of such events, especially with CEREBRUM being our vehicle that we have established that will lead, in fact, the Johor into the future successfully, inshallah. And I look forward to today's discussion and the ideas that will emerge. Thank you once again, and I would like to take the opportunity because Ramadan is actually coming, and maybe in fact we can have another spiritual and soulful session with Bank Muamalat. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Said Mohamad, for that comprehensive and insightful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we now proceed to the main segment of today's program, the panel discussion. Before that, we would like to introduce Snapsight, the world's first AI-powered tool that distills insights and generates key takeaways from this forum by scanning this QR code. Now, before introducing our panelists, allow me to first welcome our esteemed moderator, Encik Amin Idris. With that, I hand over the floor to our moderator, Encik Amin Idris. Please proceed.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ms. Chairman. Datuk, Deputy Kohormat, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Jacob, for having us today. Please give our hand to Jacob, ladies and gentlemen. And secondly, before we start our session, I would like to thank my Grab driver. Last night was a challenging night. I arrived around 11 and the jam was hectic. And I even told the driver, the Grab driver, tak apa, turun je, saya jalan kaki. The moment he saw me, he said, "Weh, Abang Idris, saya follow awak dekat TikTok." And he said that, jauh lagi 24 km, he said. Tak apa, saya cari jalan. And I don't know what happened. He go into nowhere. I don't know where. No sampai. So if you are watching, the brother Grab driver, thank you very much. Ini semangat orang Johor, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Masya Allah. And secondly, ladies and gentlemen, is it new when we talk about the future? This morning I read Surah Yusuf. There's a verse mentioned that Waqal al-Malik, the king of Egypt, he said that Inni ara sab'a baqaratin simanin yakuluhunna sab'un ijafun. He said that he dreamed of 7 thin cows eaten by 7 fat cows. And the verse mentioned about what happened in Egypt later on. And of course, in the later verse, it will mention about the Prophet Yusuf. He explained the meaning of the dream. So it comes to me that, yeah, we can talk about the future by looking at the ongoing insight. So inshallah, today we will talk about economic outlook, Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia's growth. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us invite our panel for today. First and foremost, please welcome, previously was known as Professor. Now, please welcome Dr. Azmi Hassan, Fellow Malaysian National Council of Professor University Technology Malaysia, UTM. Please welcome Dr. Azmi. Where are you, Dr. Azmi? There you are. He drove all the way from Kuala Lumpur, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, mashallah. Next, I would like to invite Chief Economist Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, Dr. Muhammad Afzani Abdul Rashid. Please welcome. And nonetheless, Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman, MBA Program Director, Putra Business School. Please welcome. All right. Assalamualaikum. Doktor, sihat? Dr. Azmi? Doctor, okay? Alhamdulillah. Welcome to Johor and welcome to JCOM. Alhamdulillah. Our format will be very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It will begin with a presentation by each and every of our panel, and we will have our question from the audience, whereas we believe in Article 10 of the Federal Constitution. Freedom of expression, and of course, within respect. So, after the presentation, we will we will show the QR code where you will ask your questions via Slido, right? So you may scan the QR code and you may post your question, and inshallah, I will Testing. Okay, so who will start first? Dr. Zanizam. So the floor is yours. Are you ready? Okay, this will be the clicker. The biggest button will be forward. The smaller button, mundur. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Dr. Zanizam. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us. And I really hope that my sharing session this morning will be beneficial to you. I've been listening to Encik KK, Datuk Syed opening speech. You talk about Johor economic prospects and so actionable ideas. And I certainly hope that this session will be beneficial to you guys. Okay. Okay, how shall I do this?
Can you present the slide? Right.
Okay, can you go to the slides, please? So basically, I wanted to walk you through what, as an economist, think about the. Okay, right. So basically, the key point I want to take to share with you about how do we see the economy going forward. Obviously, one is there is an uneven growth trajectory going on at the moment. Yeah, be it in the G7 space, be it within the ASEAN, and this has actually presented a quite key challenging dilemma lah from policymakers. And perhaps this also can be a catalyst for further divergence in terms of geopolitics. So we can see that, in terms of the GDP growth within the G7 economies, the US is thriving. You can see that their economy is growing above 2%. For G7 advanced economies, if they can grow at 2%, that is fantastic. And you can see why, the Federal Reserve, the central bank, has been, diligent in terms of how to steer the monetary policy so that it can, ensure that their dual mandate can be met, which is the price stability and also the maximum employment. But again, their counterparts in the European economies, I think they have been struggling. The reliance on NATO in terms of military spending is taking this backfire like now. And the energy reliance from Russia previously is also another key point to note. And I think the recent discussion between the US and Russia without European in the picture also present another challenges. But in this region, in the ASEAN region, it's this different story. The growth has been quite promising. Yes, China is taking a step to restructure the economy. I think that's good for the long term. And China itself now is projecting a country or a jurisdiction that is promoting globalization, something that is very foreign if you go back to early 90s, where through Washington consensus, it's the US who actually promoting globalization. But fast forward, that narrative has completely changed now, with Trump in the picture, where deglobalization seems to be their mantra at the moment. Okay, but this year I think the outlook is quite challenging. I think if you look at the forecast made by the IMF, the US economy is still growing at 2%, but at a slowing trajectory for 2026. This year about 2.7. But I think for UK, Eurozone, they are quite very in the underperforming trajectory. But China, I think gone are the days we saw that 5% growth is going to be stabilizing around sub 5% growth. And but still, trajectory-wise, the ASEAN region is way much better compared to the G7 economies. So this is where I think the opportunities lies, where I think China is trying to project itself, being the global players, being the one who has been tried to promote rules-based economics, so to speak. I mean, they have been talking about how they would resort to WTO, World Trade Organization, as a means to address all these imbalances. So that's the image that they want to project. Yeah. But the key issue now is obviously inflation. Inflation, yes, is trending down, but the percentage that inflation continues to above than what is projecting is high. So this creates a dilemma, especially for the monetary policy makers. So it kind of gives you the impression that the stagflation economics becomes more prevalent now. So this gives a rise to challenges how the interest rate will actually to behave going forward, how the global risk premium would actually behave, and how the businesses would actually responding to. And so far from World Bank and IMF assessment, downside risk actually far outweigh the upside risk. So this is the world that we live in at the moment. Okay, this is another point to note, that the uncertainties is rising. It is something that we need to embrace, and this will shape how capital can be allocated, right? Okay. In terms of Trump, okay, I think the immediate concern now is Trump and how their policies will shape the global economy. And in so far, the import tariff measures, the deglobalization measures is meant to bring in more businesses to the US, but that's not happening. If you can look at in terms of the trade deficit in the US, is growing, it's widening. Last year, they've recorded 1.2 trillion of trade deficits. compared to 872 billion deficits in 2018. So it goes to show that policies on tariffs is not going to happen in terms of bringing back to more business in the US. But still, they have been pursuing for that. And now I think under Trump 2.0, the dynamic is very different. Perhaps Dr. Azmi would have more say on that. But the way I see it, we have now Elon Musk become the second person, de facto vice president, the way I see it. So that will actually shape how this policy making, how the growth trajectory will evolve going forward. But this is the direction that the present administration has been taking on at the moment. Well, in terms of Malaysia, coming back to Malaysia, I think despite all these challenges, Malaysia has been performing quite favorably last year. In the past 2 years, I would say. I mean, if you look at our economic growth, last year we grew at 5.1%. And our inflation rates has been moderating to 1.8% last year. And this goes to show the Bank Negara has done a very good job. I mean, if you look at their OPR has actually increased from 1.75%, which is all-time low, to 3% in 2023. And it has resulted in a moderating inflation. That would actually provide some space for fiscal policies, the federal government to actually enact reforms in terms of the fiscal positions. And last year, the federal government was able to reduce the budget gap, the fiscal deficits, to 79 billion last year versus their target of 84 billion. And in terms of fiscal deficit to GDP ratio, it has gone down from 4.3%, the earlier estimates, now it's about 4.1%. And that resonates pretty much well with the recent statements by Moody's rating, where they have reaffirmed our sovereign rating at A3 with a stable outlook. So I think in Malaysian context, while we are facing these challenges, the macroeconomic backdrops provides a nice a pathway for every state in Malaysia to grow. And going into Johor, I think, yes, I think KK did mention about Johor contribution to the Malaysian economy is the third largest, 9.5% of GDP. But the issue that I have with that is that if you look at the growth trajectory between Johor and Malaysia, the correlation of coefficient of correlation is about 94%. It's very close. It's like 1-to-1 correlationship. I liken this situation like you are a fund manager. If you want to beat the market, you need to pursue this strategy of active management, which is to beat your benchmark. So your benchmark is Malaysian economy, but since you are highly correlated at 94%, you need to find ways so that your correlation can be reduced. Meaning to say, you should be able to grow much higher than from the country's level. So I think that's the for a start for perhaps Johor economy to consider. But yeah, other than that, I think Johor economy promise a lot of promising prospects given the current administration now, especially in regards to okay, these are the evidence lah. I think if you look at our Port Tanjung Pelepas ports in terms of their ranking, global ranking is like the 5th ranking in terms of efficiencies. Yeah, this is well recognized. And then in terms of robust transportation network, I think this is key infrastructure to promote economic growth in Johor. And of course, data centers is the talk of the town lah, has been flourishing. And I think it's only right to talk about Johor, Singapore's special economic zone, which can be another catalyst that will shape the Johor economy this year and forward. Okay, perhaps when we talk about JSSEZ, we can't run away to look at the template. What is it that we mapped against in terms of the past history or the past success? Obviously, Shenzhen Special Economic Zone is always being touted as a template. But the only thing that I have with this situation is that perhaps the differentiating factor is the degree of autonomy accorded to Shenzhen. In this regard, I like to listen to Professor K. Eugene, She's the associate professor in London School of Economics. Last year, she wrote a book about the China New Playbook, Beyond Socialism and Capitalism. She talked about in China the main distinct feature, which is in terms of politics, they are very centralized. But in terms of economics, they are very decentralized. And in China, they have the system, obviously, the mayor system. And this mayor system is not elected, they are being appointed. And their motivation is to do more efficient and to showcase their strength in terms of developing their own provinces. And that's how they up the rank within the CCP. So that's perhaps, I'm not saying you should be like China, no, don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you about decentralization mode. The degree of autonomy should be accorded to, I don't know, perhaps any GLCs within Johor economic sphere lah. But it works in terms of decentralization. I think in a Malaysian context, if you look at what happened in Sarawak, of course in Johor and other states as well, they are looking for more decentralization mode at the moment. So perhaps this could be a game changer, perhaps a moment for Malaysian economy, how we should develop states. And decentralization perhaps is the way to go. And okay, this is my last slide. So I think my point, my key message, I'm very hopeful that the Malaysian economy will thrive despite all these challenges. And I think while we are seeing these concerns over Trump 2.0 policies, I think the government has been proactive to mitigate the risk. And I think we have signed more FTAs now. We have signed with UK, we have signed with UAE, and now we are renegotiating with the EU. Perhaps this open up more opportunities, and I think it's only right to see from the positive light, despite all these challenges. So with that, I think I conclude my presentation and pass to the next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Auzan Nizam. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm here, because me and Dr. Razman, we were quite worried because we are afraid that the existence of us is interrupting your view upon the screen. So being proactive, Dr. Razman will be here, I'll be here, and you may maintain that. All right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in our first discussion, move it? All right, sure. Ladies and gentlemen, last year we had our first discussion in Shah Alam, and what makes our discussion unique is that when we talk about economy, we not talk about economy per se, because when we talk about economy, it must include also the political situation of the world and also of the country. That's why we have Dr. Azmi here. And I remember last year, there were a lot of forecasts regarding before the congregation of Trump. Some of them did happen. Some of them on the way towards happening. And some of them may not happen. So, without further ado, let us get into the political situation of the world, especially Trump being the president of the United States of America, and how much does it affect the economic situation, especially in Johor and also in Malaysia. So Dr. Azmi, the floor is yours. Please give a round of applause. Dr. Azmi.
Thank you, Amin. Saudara Amin, he cannot claim he's a bangsa Johor. But I can claim.
Are you Johor?
Yes. I vote in Don Perleng and also in Parliament Pulai.
Okay, fine.
Consider that bangsa Johor. I've been in Johor, exactly Taman Perleng, for 15 years.
So,
it's quite a long time. But every time I drop by in Johor, I have to use my Google Map or Waze because I will get lost. Because the development is so fast that you need somebody to help you in this case. And Dr. Nizam, I'm not going to talk about Trump. I'm going to talk about Lawrence Wong. I think that's more interesting. Lawrence Wong and its citizen in this case. So can I have my first slide, please? Yeah, talking about SEZ, the Special Economic Zone, Dr. Nizam mentioned Shenzhen just now. I think SEZ Johor Singapore is the first of the kind. Why? Because it combined two nations. Shenzhen, yes, they have China and also, I would say, Hong Kong, but both are the same. So in this case, I guess Malaysia, Thailand, we have our joint development area and also Nusantara coming up, but that's not SEZ. Basically, what Johor, Singapore has mentioned just now, Shenzhen is part of the southern China plus Hong Kong. And these two, I would say, they are the same nation, controlled by Beijing. But Johor, Singapore, SEZ is two different entities. That's the reason I said it is more interesting to talk about Lawrence Wong. Because the thinking of Lawrence Wong, the thinking of Siang Lung before this, maybe there is some problem with our SEZ. I don't know. I'm not an economist. This Dr. Sam is economist, Razman is economist. I'm not. But I'm thinking.
And so do I.
Yes, correct, correct. All smiles when the announcement of Johor, Singapore, SEZ, all smile. But if you go back 15 years before that, why they don't agree with Jabatan Bangkok? The crooked bridge. Because the strategy of our leaders at that time, when we want to build the crooked bridge, is to make the flow, the, you know, about climate issue. But Singapore, Cheng Lung at that time, they tell their citizen, no, it is about our sovereignty. Because if you build the crooked bridge, then you need to dismantle the Tambak Johor. And the Tambak Johor has the water, the pipe water. So the thinking is different from what we think and from what they think on the same issue. So I'm just puzzled. Why is it Singapore is so happy with the SEZ? Is there something that is a win-win situation? Correct, win-win situation. But who will win more? Look at the HSR. 95% of the track is on Malaysia, only 5% is in Singapore. Who will win more in this case? I think there's a question here, and I'm happy when Datuk Said mentioned about CEREBRUM. I think he don't use a think tank and do. I think we need a think tank to advise, especially concerning when we talk with Singapore, you need something that far away thinking about it, because Singapore is, their leaders is quite different. So in this particular case, I'm going to be provocative. That's the reason I've been said just now. Previously, I was a professor. Right now, I'm not because I'm retired. When you are retired, you can say whatever you want. No, honestly, you can say whatever you want. That's the reason after retirement, FMT, Malaysia Kini, BFM Radio love to call me. Not when I was in UTM, they never called me. They never called us.
Doctor, welcome to the reality.
Yeah. But again, yeah, as I mentioned, Amin is a special guy. He's an influencer, but I'm not an economist. We're talking about economic growth, future growth. But again, I'm happy to be the sore thumb here because a few days ago, I was at a town hall Raya. All four of them are lawyers, except talking about the addendum, whether to get or not to get. I'm bringing a new perspective. The Nizam has his own perspective. Dr. Aman also has his own perspective in this case. Now, I mean, why Muamalat called me? We are talking about economic here. In 1990s, the early 90s, during the presidential campaign, Bill Clinton and George Bush at that time, and Ross Perot in the middle, the term that gained attention is the economy, stupid. That's the term, very famous term. But right now, it's not the economy. It's the geopolitics. Because under Trump administration, he mixed up economy and geopolitics. So we need to get ready about this. And just a little bit about me, in 2003, the foreign minister, Professor Jayakumar at that time, in Parliament, there's an answer called Azmi Hassan is a warmonger. I'm very proud of it. Yeah, he said Azmi Hassan is a warmonger in Parliament. Why? Mostly because of this particular thing. I read articles for Berita Harian Utusan Malaysia, a very, very sensitive article that they don't like, especially on the, oh, no wonder, seems to be quiet just now, especially on the water issues, also on the defense issues. But again, last year, I was called by CGTN Beijing. CGTN is Beijing-based media, similar to BBC or CNN. I talk about their Communist Party convention. Not once, but twice. They call me. They seem to be very like of me. But again, if you hear the conversation, if somebody did not know me, they will tell that guy in the colorful shirt is very, very communist. Because I talk, when you are in CGT in Beijing, you have to be pro-China. And happen to be, yes, I am pro-China and anti-United States. That's the reality of it. That's the reality. But again, my real expertise, I'm not a social scientist. I'm not an economist like Dr. Nizam. I'm an engineer. And my expertise is GPS satellites that you use every day in Waze and Google Map. You need GPS satellite to determine your location, but that's not why I'm interested. My PhD dissertation is about the smart bombs, the smart missiles that navigate. Yes, I have the, I would say, the pattern for it, and that's my PhD dissertation. But nobody interested to hear I'm talking about it. It's only 2 times that I need to divulge myself. I'm a GPS satellite during MH370 and during MH17. Especially during MH370, I was hopping from one channel to another channel. And my wife, she had the back there. If she wants to know where I am, just click the TV channel. No, this is my expertise. But why I talk about geopolitics or regional politics is that KK senang sikit nak cari makan kalau cakap pasal politik. But again, I think when we handle with Singapore, you need to be very, very critical. If I show these slides, we knew that last year, or in 2020, we came to know that 16 jet fighters from China is nearly encroaching our airspace. How do we know that? Because I have a small talk with the PAT at that time, Tan Sri Afandi. He said that if he informed Wisma Putra, most probably we'll never know. We'll never know. Because Wisma Putra will take action that do not want to hurt Beijing. So most probably we won't know. So how we come to know about it is that Tan Sri Panglima PAT, posted this particular issue in the TUDM Facebook. That's how we came to know about it. So sometimes you need to think the other way around and take some, I would say, risk in this case. And Tan Sri said, I have another few months before I retire, so I don't mind, I don't care. Because he thinks at that time, there's a correct way to do that. I'm sure if he informs Wisma Putra, there won't be any news about it. Another thing is that what you hear in the media in front is something totally different. You heard what's really happening. I'm sure this is a Dubai fiasco. At that particular time, Tan Sri, I forgot the Prime Minister at that time, was it? Ismail Sabri was the Prime Minister. When he went to Dubai, something happened. 2 of our diplomats got called from Dubai to Kuala Lumpur. And I asked DCP, right now he's a DCP Izani, what really happened? I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to divulge you here, but he told me that what we read in the media is totally different what happened. Yeah. And a few weeks after that, ACP Izani tender his resignation as the ADC for the Prime Minister. So you need to think beyond that. Don't believe whatever you heard in the media in this case. And of course, I said before this, Singapore citizen is kind of weird, very odd. I think Malaysian too are very odd. We know that they are boycotting KFC, and I'm not sure. There are news that 100 plus of KFC branches has been closed down or temporarily closed. Why Malaysian boycott KFC is because of what's happening in Gaza. But they boycott it because they have an alternative. And recently, we know that Elon Musk is very close to Netanyahu. Why there are no noise to boycott X? Because they don't have any alternative. So you need some psycho here. When you are dealing with Malaysian, somehow or other you need some psycho perang saraf, gerak saraf. And more so when you are dealing with Singaporeans, I think we also need that kind. I think CEREBRUM, is a correct outfit here. You know, as I mentioned, the Crooked Bridge just now, we use the justification so that the water flow can be more freely flow. But for Singapore, they said, no, you cannot dismantle the Tambak Johor because that is our sovereignty. The Johor, the pipe. That's how their leaders, psychic their citizens. Similar with the water agreements that will end in 2061. Singaporeans said, no, we don't want any discussion because there's the international agreement. We agreed to it. And it will end 2061. But Datuk Seri Anwar said recently, a few weeks ago, that Lawrence Wong agreed to discuss. That's a good news, but I'm not sure how to go about in this particular thing. And our argument for that, the discussion for the water rate is commercial, because it's not fair. 3 cents per 1,000 gallons, it's not fair. That's our argument. But Singaporean, they see it differently. They see it that their sovereignty according to the international law. That's how each leadership of Malaysia and Singapore psychic their citizen in facing issues between Singapore and also Malaysia. And recently, Republic of Singapore Air Force aiming a big issue of airdrops in Gaza. And they said Malaysia doesn't do any airdrops. We did it. This is psychic that they are more better than us when concerning with Gaza in this case. But there are reasons to it. Why we did not do the airdrop is that you need the permission of the Israeli. And we don't talk with Israeli. I think that's the main reason why we don't do any airdrops in Gaza. And so Singapore, they psychic their citizen is very good. Last year, before the 58 Singapore Day, in their media, there's a story about their jet fighters, F-16, intercept Malaysia helicopter because of encroaching the Changi airport airspace. Actually, this is nothing, a story of nothing, a very mundane story, something that are very, I would say, very lazim, always occurred. But in order to psychic their people, in the incoming 58th birthday Singapore Day, they made up this story. And the helicopter is from Malaysia. So that's how they psychic up their people in facing Malaysia. And I think that's the reason. Their defense budget is 5 to 6% of their GDP. Us never go beyond 1.2. And the Singaporean, their people never question their leadership. Why you spend so much? They never question. Because the psychic is there. Remember, you are surrounded by Nusantara. I think that's the reason why B.J. Habibie, the late president of Indonesia, called Singapore is just a little red dot encircled by a bigger Nusantara. That's how, especially from the late Lee Kuan Yew, Goh Chok Tong, Siang Lung, and now Lawrence Wong, psychic their people. And this, I think, Johor being the part of the special economic zone, you need to deal with this kind of leadership, or not this kind of leadership, but that kind of leadership that really totally different from our leadership. That's the reason, same issue, totally two angles. So we need to know about their things. And as I mentioned, B.J. Habibie accused Singapore as a little red dot, but they use this humiliation to prop up their patriotic, and this is part of their primary school syllabus, the little red dot. That's how they turn around Singapore. And Jocelyn Chia kutuk Malaysia sikit, kita pun dah koyak kan. Padahal ini Jocelyn Chia only. So I think this is something that we have a special relationship with Johor, and we need to understand the traits of leadership. And I use the example, Prof. Nizam, not to talk about Trump, but to show the difference between Obama, Biden, and Trump. When they are posting something about a certain operation, Operation Neptune Spear is a operation to kill Osama bin Laden, thank you. And you see the picture is that something that are not, I would say, arranged. It's not pre-arranged, something that are gathered at that time. But Biden and also Trump, it is a PR job, even though it's a very important operation to kill somebody. So in this case, it shows the traits, what the leaders want. And more importantly, Lawrence Wong, he's the alumni of University of Wisconsin-Madison, 96. I was there in Wisconsin-Madison, but different school. Lawrence Wong is a school of business, I'm in an engineering school. But at that time, I was the Tok Penghulu for Malaysian student. Being the oldest, I think I'm the oldest there, and have a family, so I'm the Tok Penghulu, and I still remember there was only 3 Singaporean at that time. I'm sure I've met Lawrence Wong, being the Tok Penghulu, because when we do our International Day, Singapore, Malaysia will be there. So one thing for sure is that Datuk Syed, the alumni of Wisconsin, Madison especially, they are very critical. And maybe I got application from them. 8 years, basically, from a master's and PhD, it creates me how to think. What I'm trying to tell the third side is that Lawrence Wong, being an alumnus of Wisconsin, maybe he had the same thinking, very critical thinking, very sarcastic thinking. You never know about that. But my intention in the first 15 minutes here is that at the side, when we deal with Singapore, we got to be very, very careful. And Tuan Haji, don't depend much on the Putrajaya. Well, I was quite upset that Menteri Besar was not here. No, I think some say that Sarawak is the best leadership in terms of taking care of their people. But I think Sarawak, they copied from Johor. And I think Johor leadership need to be more, yeah, you're part of the government, you're part of UMNO, yes, true, but somehow or other, you need to, take care of the Bangsa Johor because you have the great opportunity here, especially SEZ is a great opportunity. It's a win-win situation, but I want to see the win on the Johor part is 60%, 70%. And we have to divide, we have to know more deeper why Singaporeans are okay with SEZ. I'm sure the state government know that. I'm hoping that the federal government did not, I think it divulged everything. That's what I'm hoping for. And of course, that's the reason, again, I'm being called the warmonger, because I like to provoke, especially when it involved with Singapore. And when I say I'm close to Singapore, to Johor, I mean I'm also close to Singapore. I have a lot of relatives there. And the first minister for Malay under Lee Kuan Yew was my tok saudara, orang Kelantan. Datuk Muhammad Yaakob. He was first Malay minister at that time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Azmi, the warmonger, and the GPS specialist. MashaAllah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Azmi and Dr. Afzal Nizam had presented their ideas. So you may have your question, and we will display our QR code for you to post your question, inshallah. So if there's any question you may ask, and definitely you may ask also in Bahasa Malaysia, because in this program we do practice campurization language. You may ask in English, also in Bahasa Malaysia, inshallah. All right, we have talked about the economics in general, talk about the geopolitics. So let's talk about Johor. Will Johor have their own will Johor have their own airlines? Who knows? May Johor have their own petrol company like Sarawak? I don't know. So please welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Please give our hand to Dr. Ahmad Razman. Please welcome.
Terima kasih, Saudara Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Maybe I can say my only claim to Johor is my wife was born in Kota Tinggi. My first wife and only. And
You're lucky, doctor.
and her father did quite close to the late almarhum Sultan Iskandar, and but some story probably never have to be told again. Okay, and Dr. Afzal Nizam has been talking about the probably on the global level, Trump, and the Tasmin talking about Singapore, where I used to study also there at NTU, Nanyang Technical University. And now, probably I want to bring us closer to Johor itself. Of course, we know that Malaysia economy has been growing, and we have been having a positive growth for the past 13 quarters, which is a good thing. Although if you can see, this hasn't taken into the latest announcement of 5.1% growth last year, but again, it's all been positive. And if you look at Johor, what we have seen, it's been tremendous for the past 2-3 years or so. We have the revitalized forest city, which also going to be further enhanced by the economic prospect of GSSEZ, 100 projects within 10 years, with a prospect of about 20,000 skilled jobs to be created. The keyword here is the skilled jobs. And of course, we're talking about the HSR that also has been going to probably implement again, like what Dr. Azmi said, 5% covered by Singapore Rail Track, 95% in Malaysia. I was invited by HSR Corp last time when they were deciding, the government deciding whether to end the agreement or not, and the issues highlighted. One of the issues highlighted during that discussion was the control. Dr. Azmi mentioned about Singapore always insisting on sovereignty, but imagine having a control over our own sovereignty in terms of rail track, when you only manage 5%, but you have a control over also the remaining of the track. So that's one of the contentious issue. Something that probably we also need to be considered if this is happening again. The new asset core for the HSR, how Singapore involvement will be in that company, whether they will have a say or whether they have some form of control in that. So again, we want the country to prosper. We want the state to, like what Dr. Afzal said, to go beyond and not just simply following the trajectory of the country, but more than that. But at what cost? So let's look in the population of the state itself. This is the latest, I think, statistic by DOSM showing the unemployment and as well as the total labor force in the country and also by state. We have been doing well since the pandemic. The unemployment rate has gone down to 3.1%, which is a good thing. And we're talking about the labor participation. The country has the most labor force so far. And when looking at Johor, has the fifth highest labor participation rate. I think with regards to the economic prosperity among the states, we can say there are big four lah, Selangor, KL, Johor, Penang. And when we're talking about the labor participation, it line with that kind of prospect where it has the fifth highest labor and fourth lowest unemployment rate. But one thing that this statistic didn't tell rest of us, because it's just the status of being employed. Like Cik Keke kata lah, okay, you have a job, but this is not really the job you want. You don't have a choice, and you have to be in the business. Well, statistics do say that we are suffering from mismatch, underemployment, where I think about 40% of the belia who actually working not matching with what academic qualification that they have. Okay, they have degree, but they have to jual goreng pisang. So this is something that has yet to be talked out in the open. We are proud to have a high employment rate, but the mismatch of job is something that we need to consider, and this affecting all states. The statistic is not there yet, but hopefully there will be more in details. And when talking about employment, of course, we want to know how much we are earning. I think at the moment, the median keep changing. But at the moment, I think Dr. Hafizan, 2,800 ke? Median wage. Around that time, around that figure. So imagine we have 17 million labor. The median means right in the middle is 2,800, meaning that 7 or 8 million plus is actually having a salary of 2,008 and below. Okay, so for Johor it's not bad. Yeah, you have the fourth highest. Okay, of course KL is the highest, but this is the individual. So we're talking about those who are working in the formal sector. And saya tak nampak situ, tapi apa? 2,700 2,700 something like that, which is just near the average. And but we cannot simply look at our wages without looking at the expenditure. There's no point having a high salary when the expenses actually far outweigh what you are getting. So somehow it correlates, meaning that you have high wages, but you also have among the highest household expenditure. And that's probably because we are close to Singapore. When Singapore coming in to spend, they have, of course, higher purchasing power, and it drive up the cost of living. Everything becomes expensive. And if you look at Johor, it's 5,342. This is household. Okay, we're talking about isi rumah. So imagine if you have 2,000. Sorry, in March, the median wage for Johorian is about 2,582. So kalau dua-dua bekerja, if both are working in the household, let's say they're having this average, so it's about 5,000 plus, but still slightly below than what they normally have to spend. Okay, but of course we're talking the average. Some household spending more, some not, but this is the reality. Actually, the reality is not in Johor, but in any state. Imagine KL 7,800, Selangor, where I live now, 6,000, and Putrajaya, of course, the highest. So when we're talking about median, it marks the reality, okay, across the income group that some is actually still struggling, even though we still have this classification of B40, M40, T20. M40 actually is not also doing well because if especially if they live in the urban area, like in KL, PJ, Penang, Selangor, and Johor. So when we're talking about this reality, what we don't want to see when we have economic prosperity for the past 13 quarters, Malaysia has been experiencing highest or positive growth. Surely the rakyat should be prosper. So how come people keep saying, high cost of living, still couldn't get the job that they want? So this is the reality that we need to address. We don't want, when we talk about the state prosperity, it's not the people, but it's the multinational company, it's the T20. We want to reduce what the economists always say, the Gini coefficient, the inequality among the people. Something interesting happened after pandemic. The wealthy managed to recover fast because they have asset to generate back the income. The poor didn't have the asset. The sales of BMW and Mercedes has gone faster and exceeded the pre-pandemic. Okay. Some say private helicopter, but I just couldn't get the data. Okay. Betul? Your helicopter? Yeah. All right. So because of that, when we're talking about the asset, how about the price of the house? Johor. So the latest in the first quarter 2024, I think this is the latest I couldn't find. It's a bit expensive. Okay, for the Johorian, it's above the average, just behind KL. The sub sale also a bit expensive when you want to sell back the house. So this is the reality. Okay, we want to be champion in certain things in terms of highest employment, highest salary. But for this, we also need to address the fact. But of course, some people say when we have this JSSEZ with high demand for working here, probably we can address this issue. But in what way? So at the moment, the price of the house is a bit slightly above the national average. And somehow, the reality is that because it become expensive, so you cannot able to sell it. But what I heard now, Johor probably with the higher demand, you manage to sell it. But who actually will buy these unsold properties? Okay, is it the Johor people or okay? That's me bercerita. I was invited as a moderator last year for the Johor Smart City Convention. So it is a very bold strategy to make sure people can live in the city that can support their well-being. So it's very important. Okay, the keyword here, the well-being, the sustainability. But we also want people to be able to afford to live in this smart city. So therefore, when I look into the situation, of course, like Datuk Syed cakap, it's not just think, it's not just to talk, but it's to act. In what way? Okay, and these are some of the things that we can actually implement. Johor can be the leading game changer. There are few innovative action that can still be taken. We don't have to follow the same tested and try method. That's why Johor sama dengan Malaysia. Kena do something else different. In what way? So basically, when we are attracting the investment, there's a need to have the transfer of the technical know-how. the recent or the previous Global Innovation Index, GII, Malaysia for the past 3 years have maintained the same rank, 36. We are not improving. But when you go details into that ranking, we found out that we have been importing innovation. So the innovation input is actually increasing. However, innovation output is lacking. So we have been importing, but we do not know how to transform it into a product, a new product, a new knowledge. So this is something that needs to be addressed. It's not just simply, buying patent or getting the technical know-how, but how we can make it into the new product, new innovator. We don't want to be a nation of consumer, but nation of producer. And there are many opportunity. We have Pengerang. Petronas used to drill and sell not much on the byproduct itself, but we have the new energy, the rare earth elements, where we can have it anywhere in every state except Penang, I think. But we don't want simply to extract and sell. We want to extract and transform it into a higher value-added product. I was in the consultation with Academic Science Malaysia looking into the business model for rare earth element. We're looking into the upstream to downstream, and actually once you upgrade or update the process, you can get sometime up to 70 time multiplier. Okay, so this is something that we need to look into. And of course, prioritizing local talents over expatriate. When JSCCZ aim to create 20,000 skilled jobs, it should be skilled jobs among the Johorian. The priority must be there. Okay, and because those investors, because Singapore is the largest contributor of the FDI. So if they want to invest to Johor, what kind of demand they want? Are they going to bring the expatriate or their people from Singapore coming to Johor? So what are we getting from that when we are not nurturing the talent of the local people? And of course, it's the high-paying job creation. I'm talking about the mismatch. And just like HSR, we want to make sure the decision-making power still lies with the local authority and government agencies. Dr. Abdul talking about decentralization. Okay, so this is something that possibly with the current geopolitical situation, like what Dr. Azmi said, maybe some of the states have greater power than others. Some states are more equal than others. So you might want to think about that. Okay, and of course, like what we have here with Bank Muamalat, they are all in the business of financing, financial empowerment. Perhaps there is a way to explore the high cost of buying the houses. Perhaps looking into alternative home financing such as Musyarakah Mutakasah concept, the rent to own, that can fit into the current scenario. There are many models that can be explored, or perhaps the local authority introduce a council home concept like what happened in the European. That could also contribute the annual income and something that can be implemented just as easily, like in the immediate time. So this is something, okay, yang the CEREBRUM could also look at while achieving for the state prosperity. When all these opportunities are going to come in, don't forget the real assets of any state, which is the people, including my first and only wife. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Azman. Quite frequent you mentioned about your first wife, Doctor. Anything to clarify? Nothing. Thank you, Dr. Azman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, let us proceed with our question and answer. The first question to Dr. Afzanizam. Sorry, Doctor. You were mentioned about the economics. There are negatives, there are positives. There are increase and there are also decrease. the main question is that to what extent does it benefit the people at large, especially those small businesses, young graduates, youngsters? Please, Dr. Nizam.
Okay, I think when we talk about small businesses, I always talk about this that Malaysians like to spend. The reason I'm saying is that it's based on this marginal propensity to consume. In Malaysia, we are like among the highest in this region, around 60%, 0.6. It means that every 1 ringgit rise in your income would translate into 60 cents worth of spending. So it means that Singapore is 1.3, by the way. Philippines quite high, 0.7. Indonesia around 0.5. Ours is 0.6. So it means it goes to show that the final demand is there. The appetite to spend is there. So when you go into a business, like what Encik Keke said, when he said that when people do business, it's like macam substitution. Tak ada kerja, buat business. It's very suboptimal. It means that kalau betul-betul you not go into business, it means that the capacity building journey has to be right. First, we have to acknowledge that entrepreneur is a different breed, right? It's not like macam mentality, taking salary, it's different. So I think we need to recognize that. So if you want to go really serious about building an entrepreneur punya ecosystem, the right mindset has to be there. And the capacity building punya plans or executions has to align to that narratives and directions so that this entrepreneur would have the drive, to sell more, and innovate. And this is where I think then the policymakers will come in through perhaps microfinancing, training, and whatnot. But before that, I think we need to recognize that the right mindset to become an entrepreneur, not just a substitutions. Because I couldn't find a job, then I'll do business. I think we need to recognize that. So if you do that right, I think we can try. These SMEs can thrive actually. We have a population of 33 million, 16 million labor force, and we are in a full employment status. I think the appetite to spend is there, and I think whatever you sell can sell. But to sell, I think you need to differentiate yourself. You need to have a strategy. You need to a proper marketing plans and whatnot. So that's my take.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nizam. I think the next question is a continuance for this question, Dr. Razman, because you were talking about using local talents. There are complaints among the employer, including big companies, small companies, regarding we call it as strawberry generation. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, the employee nowadays marah sikit mengaju, kan, tegur sikit resign, lompat company, so on and so forth. So by the end of the day, rather than using local talent, baik guna Bangla, contoh. So what's your take on that?
Yes, we also experienced that. 24 hours resignation. Just they don't like the
24 hours resignation.
The office. So it's what do you call it? Millennials.
Millennials, strawberry
Alpha,
generation, Gen Alpha, Gen TikTok, so on and so forth.
Okay. I think we cannot blame them entirely due to the fact that the world is changing.
Correct.
The culture now is different. The technology itself actually has made them very less attentive. Some said the attention span of teenager is less than goldfish. So yeah, so you can play more with goldfish than your own teenager. I have 5 kids, I know. So because of that, there must be a middle ground meeting their needs. They want flexibility. I think some countries have introduced a visa for nomad, for example, meaning you don't have to come to work. We do have changes in Employment Act where the employer can give flexibility in terms of time of working, days of working, or the physical aspect of it. And many large corporations have also incorporated into that. Telecom Malaysia, TMB, they have changing their office space into co-working space. I visited with my student to Agoda, and I asked
Yeah.
how many workers they have. I think they have 1,000 plus. But I didn't see many seats or chairs. And they said, well, they take turns. They don't spend.
They don't stay at the office.
Yes. So all this and of course they have so many facilities. Ogawa massage chair facing KLCC. So
Is there any Ogawa in Jacob building? Ada. All right.
okay. So that's the trend.
Do you receive any resume from me?
So we have to understand, okay, and especially when we look into the situation, many corporations still insist on hiring low-skilled workers or foreigners because, of course, there must be some aspect of cheaper alternative. I'm talking about some that require mechanical or production activities. But when talking about services, we are our main sector contributing the growth actually the services sector. So when talking about services, we're talking about human talent. And when we're talking about human talent, the greatest contribution that our local talent can give is actually they can contribute to the long-term growth of an organization and company. It's very expensive actually to keep replacing talent again and again. Petronas also experienced this, the what do you call it, tacit knowledge. When we do business, it's not just simply following SOP. Human connection, how you get know people, networking is very important as well. So when talking about understanding the local context, culture, we still need to nurture our young people. We cannot let go of them. We don't want to become like Japan. They are Asian nation, and now they had to import people to come working for them. So because of that, when we're talking about the replacement rate, the fatality, we have gone down. 1.7 ke 1.9? 1.7 per household.
It's decreasing, is it?
Decreasing when the replacement rate is 2.1. That's why I have 5 kids to help the nation.
So you contribute a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know, you don't know. Huh?
So because of that, I believe with all the challenges, we have to tackle those challenges head on. Our local people, our youngsters, they are the future, and no matter what, we need to retain them. We need to, make sure they contribute and stay with us within our own organization.
Thank you, Dr. Razman. So there will be any additional kids later on? From 5 to 6 maybe?
Tu kedai lah.
Or new factory? No, eh? All right, Dr. Azmi, there's a question from the audience. Would Malaysia be the radar of Trump for tariff imposition since Malaysia holds sizable China investment? What's your comment on that?
Not for the time being. Why I'm saying that? Because during the inquiry, Defense Minister Pete Sagat, one of the questions is that, can you name one ASEAN member? He cannot name it. And he's a defense secretary.
He don't
cannot
know or
name it.
what?
He has no idea. He's never heard of ASEAN.
Oh my God.
He was mumbling about South Korea, AUKUS, Japan. So if you look at Trump's cabinet, is what the yes man. So if the defense minister doesn't know about ASEAN, so most probably, for the time being, Malaysia is not under Trump's radar. No, I don't
So
think
it's
so.
a good problem, is it?
It's a good thing.
Good.
It's a good thing. When Dr. Nizam said that a trade surplus just now, that's not a good thing because we have a positive trade surplus with US. So tak lama lagi, will come under Trump's radar.
Sooner or
problem,
later,
very
is it?
soon. Let me reiterate, during Trump's first era as the 45th president, in March 2020, at that time, we are so obsessed with Sheraton move. Okay, I
Correct.
think remember Sheraton move, the change of government, and at the same time, Trump sent 2 warships into our EEZ. He said that in order to protect Malaysia from being bullied by China at that time. This is something to do with the Petronas oil rig ship. So Trump's strategy, I mean, he's very brutal. And we can foresee that and we can plan for it. And Trump is that he likes to take credit. Pujilah dia. Dia memang suka walaupun pujian itu dia bukan dia punya. So that's how you deal with Trump. But I think this is way back. But the real interesting part is how do you deal with Lawrence Wong? That is the more interesting part. I think it's good that we have Lawrence Wong because Goh Chok Tong, Sieng Lung has a Lee Kuan Yew baggage at behind. Lawrence Wong doesn't have that baggage. So that's easier for us. He is very articulate, similar with Prime Minister. I think that's one of the reasons he said, okay, let's talk the water deal, the rate water deal, 3 cents per 1,000 gallon. He want to talk with Datuk Seri Anwar because Lawrence Wong want to resolve any existing problem with Malaysia. I think that's how, you know what Trump's like to do. And we also have to know what Lawrence Wong like to do and how he thinks. I think that's very critical here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azmi. All right, Dr. Nizam, there are 2 questions which is quite similar and interrelated, where they ask about, do you see SEZ succeeding, or will it face challenges like Iskandar Malaysia? In conjunction with another question, does Singapore share the same enthusiasm, or is momentum driven mainly by the federal and Johor state governments, as media reports suggest? Your take on that?
Sure. Actually, I would like to respond to that question by following up what
All right.
Dr. Azmi said.
Interrelated, is it?
Yeah, it's interrelated, especially on Singapore. I think this week, Singapore has announced their budget for 2025, and they are targeting a fiscal surplus of 0.9% of GDP. When I look at the details of the budget, there's a lot of cash transfers program, the vouchers for all citizens of Singaporeans. I mean, T20 pun dapat lah. And there's a cash transfers programs, certain groups of Singaporeans. And there is also subsidies for existing employers to scale up their skill. So when I look at the details, it seems that they are shifting towards more populist measures. And that resonates well with their current political landscape lah. The PAP supports pun dah dwindling, right? So on that note, I think there's more reasons for Singapore to actually work hand in hand with us, with Malaysia, to ensure that all the investments in JSSEZ will benefit them. Yeah, because it opens up a lot of doors for Singaporean companies to invest. But I think the key point that to take note, I think when I always like to listen KS these days, keluar sekejap. They mentioned about how our arrangement with Singapore, it seems is one-sided lah. It seems that we are the one who are giving a lot of goodies to them in a way. So what what KJ is trying to indicate is that to have a level playing field lah, when it comes to GSSE, which is to me is the key challenge lah. But otherwise, from the political dynamics, the economic current landscape, now and then for Singapore is way different, and the more reason that they need to ensure this GSSE to be succeeded lah. That's my take on it.
All right. Dr. Rosman, there's a question regarding to what extent the rivalry between US and China give benefit to Malaysia. What's your comment?
It's supposed to be Dr. Azmi. But
Any comment before we go to Dr. Azmi?
yeah, perhaps maybe Dr. Azmi can correct me. Last time we have this called Malacca dilemma. Okay, where China rivalry or China dependency on the trade across along the Straits Malacca, especially on the oil and gas. But things I think still developing with the second thing the decision, Thailand decision whether to connect the port from both sides. But when we're talking about US and China, China has 3,000 years of civilization. They used to be one of the largest nation with the highest GDP together with India at that time. So we're talking about 3,000 years of civilization against 300 years experience of country. And whatever they do is always long term, okay? And the approach also different. China never invaded any country. US still invading many countries, okay? But China, their strategy is more economic when they have this Belt Road initiative, where the trap is through the economic or funding. We have seen the situation where Sri Lanka last time had to let go, I think 15,000 acres of their land because they unable to pay for the debt incurred when they build the airport and the port, the seaport. We could explain the same thing if we cannot pay our ECRL debt. Imagine no ship berthing at the Kuantan port. There's no goods to be transported to Port Klang. So we could explain the same thing. So when talking about US and China, okay, so how we going to deal with this? I think some people did mention about some kancil diplomacy when the two giants and we are in the middle. So I think this is what we've been doing. We are non-aligned movement. Economic-wise, we are partners for every international unilateral trade agreement like RCEP, CPTPP, and the latest BRICS. So political-wise, we don't interfere, but economic, we are partners. That's why US, China among the top three trading partners for us. So I guess when these two are fighting in terms of tariff war, we will be affected. But last time we managed to find opportunity. We become the middleman, meaning those companies from US or China, when they want to trade with each other, we become the transit for them. I don't know whether the strategy can be the same again. But the good thing about us, we are very adaptable. Okay, so we don't have a legacy in terms of administration. Although when we're talking about Datuk Sri Anwar as a PMS, he used to be the finance minister back in the 90s. But when we're looking into the situation right now, it's very what we call volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And we have learned the lesson since the pandemic. Economic-wise, we know how to be more resilient and sustainable. So that's why I believe everyone is observing it very closely. Trump keeps signing lots of executive orders. Apa paper straw pun kena ban apa semua, itu pun dia sign, okay? But I'm sure Wisma Putra is monitoring this, and this is something that I think Dr. Azmi can also elaborate more.
Dr. Azmi, you may add a little bit because we have another question for you where would the US sanctions on AI chips hurt the Johor AI data centers trend? So you can add a little bit. And furthermore, another question, Dr. Azmi.
Related to Razman said just now about Malaysia being used as a transit. When the trade war, Chinese company in China, they moved to Malaysia so that they can export their goods to United States without the tariff. And United States is not that dumb. They are not stupid. So they put a tariff on us. Anything, solar panel products, whether made by Chinese company here in Malaysia or by the Malaysian company, will be put tariff. So I think that's a negative part of the transit. And regarding the question about AI chips, Recently, I think a month ago, Malaysia was put under the tier 2 category, meaning that if any companies in Malaysia want to import AI chips from NVIDIA, for example, then there's a red flag there. Why? Because the states have the perception that the chips will be used by the Chinese company that are based here. So Johor, which want to be one of the data centers, will be impacted, will be negatively impacted because we need that kind of AI chips. And these particular AI chips, which China cannot produce, only United States can produce. So it will be impacted. And as I mentioned before this, Malaysia is still not under US radar. It is already, but slowly creeping in because of this constraint.
All right. Last question, also for Dr. Azmi. This question is a little bit provocative, but all right, I will still read it. Whenever Trump became the president in his first tenure, the China said, "Thank you, Mr. Trump," because of his quote unquote stupidity, China becomes stronger. For example, when Elon Musk he announced Tesla EV, electrical vehicle, it challenges China to have their own EV, and now China become the number one, the best EV production in the world. So, what does it mean by "Thank you, Mr. Trump" by China?
Well, one thing for sure is that when Trump tried to close United States, is an opportunity for China, not only in terms of economy, but also in terms of geopolitics. When Trump put a pause on US AID, China jumped that, well, via BRI, Belt Road Initiative, they can help other countries. Well, I don't call Trump is stupid, but I would call him sombrono. The American wouldn't understand. If the American, he or she wouldn't understand here. His sombrono is that he just pick up his decision right from a thin air. I give you one simple example during the press conference that he said that by this Saturday, meaning last Saturday, 12 o'clock, Hamas must release all hostages. When I saw it carefully during the press conference, he said, Saturday, okay, 12 o'clock is a good time. Meaning they just pick up the idea. So his sombrono knows.
And his minister know nothing about it.
Know nothing about it. So the people around him need to cover up, need to do the justification. I think that's the reason. Don't consider Trump as stupid, but consider him as somebody who like to be pampered with, who like to be puji-puji. I still remember in 2017, Tan Eng Hock, the CEO of Broadcom, Tan Eng Hock is a Malaysian, one of the biggest electronic company, Broadcom at that time at Singapore. So he went to White House to announce that Broadcom will move from Singapore to California. And he said that during a press conference, Trump was beside him. He said that he wants to thank you, United States, for giving him scholarship during his younger days that he can study in MIT. And when Trump heard that, he made a big smile. Why? It's a puji-pujian to America, puji-pujian to Trump. But that's not the real reason. Why he moved the company from Singapore to California is to take over another big Silicon Valley company, Qualcomm. That's the reason. So that to make things easier. US-based company taking over US-based company, no problem. So that's how you deal with question of the stupidity of Trump, as I call it, the sombrono of Trump. We can handle that particular part.
All right, sombronoity of Trump, is it? All right. Since we have no more questions for the audience, so I would like to give an opportunity for every speaker for their. Oh yeah. Oh, other question again. Hold on. It's either my internet is slow or my iPad is a problem. Oh, there you go. All right. Oh, all right. Okay. To Dr. Azmi. Okay. I think Dr. Nizam first. What is Bank Muamalat forecast on Malaysian interest rate and USD Malaysia ringgit for year 2025? Dr. Nizam, good luck.
Sure, thank you. These are common questions being asked my CEO. I think for our GDP growth for this year, we are looking at 5%. And the primary driver would be coming from investments and consumptions and some help from the external sector. That's one. On OPR, it is a bit tricky lah. We are looking at a more stable environment for overnight policy rate at 3%. And from our engagement with Bank Negara, because every now and then they will call up all economists and listen to them. And from their body language is that they're quite uncertain about the policy changes lah. Namely the RON 95 subsidy rationalizations. Because RON 95 account about 5% of our consumer price index. So any change to that price will have a significant impact to the inflation rates. So that actually resonates well with their forecast of inflation for this year, which is around 2% to 3.5% lah. That's a big gap, that's a big range lah, which indicates the degree of uncertainties on the part of the Bank Negara. So on that note, I think the Bank Negara is trying to strike a delicate balance now. On one hand, to make sure that growth will be supported through accommodative monetary policies, but at the same time, they pay close attention about the emerging rates of inflation. So from my observation among my colleagues in the bank, generally we are looking at an unchanged of OPR, 3%. If I notice, there's only one, I think, foreign house, Nomura, is calling for a rate hike to 4%, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I can't remember what's the decree, but basically OPR hike. But generally, it's this more or less a status quo. But yeah, I think this RON 95 is really
Confirm or happening or on the way? Confirm in June, eh?
Yeah. It's a question of the mechanism lah. The mechanism, whether it's going to be in the past experience where we saw the RON 95 will be adjusted upward rightly, or there will be some mechanism using our MyCard and only the top 15% they will pay the market price and the 85% will pay the subsidized price, the tiering pricing mechanism. If that happens, I think the impact to inflation is somewhat limited, I would say. So that mechanism is the main uncertainties lah. But looking at the appetite for economic reforms, especially on fiscal consolidation, is gaining momentum. I mean, it's been reflected, as I said in my earlier speech, that the budget deficit has gone down quite a fair bit, 79 billion, on account of e-invoicing lah, raising the services tax rates from 6% to 8%, introducing the low value goods tax at 10%. I think these are, and of course, diesel. So these are ongoing fiscal consolidation, and it has resulted a positive outcome. So it's a question of RON 95 now, and of course, beyond RON 95 is the electricity tariff lah.
Right.
So those two.
KMB. Yes.
Ringgit, dollar ringgit.
Yes.
I'm looking at year end of 4.3.
4.3.
Why? One is because OPR is expected to remain unchanged at 3%, and our neighbors, even in Singapore, have started to ease their monetary policies in Indonesia, in Philippines, in Thailand, in South Korea. They all have actually cut their rates. For us, it's still at 3%, and that indicates the rate differentials will be narrowed lah. And the other thing is to note is that it's actually we still think that the US rates will come down, probably still around 50 basis points in the second half. So again, that could be the main driver, and along with political stability and the appetite towards reform, that could actually lure more foreign funds to come.
So 4.3, right?
4.3 by year end.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nizam. And okay, another question. Maybe this is for Dr. Azmi. What could be the impact from the government move to liberate the gas supply in Malaysia? And another question, since we talked a lot about Lawrence Wong, what is your proposal, your suggestion of a strategy to deal with Lawrence Wong, Dr. Azmi?
Okay, thank you. Lawrence Wong is not the first choice. He's the second choice to be the Prime Minister because the first choice got some issues, moral problem, has to step down. The closest that we can know how Lawrence Wong works is that during his chairmanship of the COVID-19 committee. Even though some of the measures that he introduced at that time, the Singaporeans are not happy, he just don't care. Because it's based on data and statistics that Lawrence Wong made his decision. Now, if you want to compare any ministers in Malaysia are like that, I have one. YB Rafizi, probably. He is so obsessed with data and statistics. I asked him one question. YB, you are too obsessed with data and statistics. Yes, people like Amin can understand the data and statistics. But you don't explain it into the layman's language. He said he don't care. He cannot wait to explain it to the people. And I'm not a TikTok minister. He did say that. You can quote me, no problem with that. So that's how Lawrence Wong. Yes, he is very articulate, but he's based his decision on data and statistics. And I mean, PMX also are articulate also, but sometimes he like to, wayward, here go there, here go there. How to formulate Lawrence Wong is that what you see Rafizi Ramli is what Lawrence Wong is. That's my opinion.
All right, thank you, Dr. Azmi. Anything to add, Dr. Nizam?
On Singapore,
Yeah.
I think like I mentioned earlier on, I think that the Singapore economics is changing. It's perhaps because of the generational gap, and there is the role of information, the social media and whatnot, and there is a need that the government needs to really not to be too hawkish about their fiscal policy stand. While they are still announcing a fiscal surplus balance in the latest budget, like I did mention earlier on, I think their stance is towards more populist measures. I think because of the upcoming elections, I think end of this year. So it's a shift that could actually benefits Malaysia, especially in GSSZ endeavor.
All right. So I think we are at the end of our discussion. Dr. Razman, upon our discussion, ding dong here, ding dong there, facts and figures, data, idea, proposals, so on and so forth. Back to our topic. What can we conclude? What can we take away upon Johor as a catalyst for Malaysian growth? Dr. Razman, please.
Right. What we need to understand when we talk about Johor as a catalyst for Malaysia growth, the reason why we have been so much citing new development in Johor, especially because of the situation where we have the top-down approach. The people at the top, they want Johor to become successful, to become catalyst, to become the forefront of the economic growth in the country. So this is what the top want. So, but it cannot happen if there is no bottom-up approach as well. The support must be there, the ecosystem, and more importantly, the people. The country, the state is ready, but the people also must be there to help. So what is need to be done is the change of the culture, okay, the mentality. When Dr. Abzizan talking about Shenzhen as a model, we also need to talk about the mentality of the people. Okay, they are highly motivated, highly driven. When we're talking about the potential of Singapore, one to be the winner or more win than Johor, we know their mentality. Okay, they have this kind of I don't know whether we can still talk about it. The kiasu. Okay, so mentality. So Johor, perhaps the mentality not necessarily have to be like them, but better. How? When we're talking about the human aspect of it. Okay? PBS, our motto is nurturing human leaders. People keep asking, why do you put the word human there? Why not just taking nurturing business leaders? Because I said sometimes some leaders they're behaving like animal, backstabbing, So we want to talk about when we want to produce a better manager, better human manager, a better CEO, better human CEO. So we're talking about the people, Johor, to drive the state's agenda forward. We want to also have this human aspect. Everyone move forward together. So this is my hope for Johor as a catalyst for the Malaysia group.
So it's about humanizing humans. Inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Dr. Azmi, Dr. Nizam, and Dr. Azman.
I mean,
Yes,
can
Dr.
I have,
Azmi.
60 seconds?
Yeah, please.
I'm
No problem.
working as a voter in Don Perling and also a voter as a Parliament Pulai. I'm looking at one person only here. I really wish the MB be like Premier Abak Jo. Want to be whatever he's doing it for Sarawak. Buy bakun at a discount. Maswing also at a discount. Sarawak people felt very happy about it. So I think Johor is in that kind of position. Sorry. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Aduh,
about
yeah.
Agung. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Then
Come on,
I
Dr.
got-
Azmi, come on.
I rest my case here. I rest
Yeah.
my case. Thank you.
Done. Yes, okay, it's all right. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Bank Muamalat. And nevertheless, Cerebrum by Johor Corporation. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Before we end our session, there's a hadith mentioned that فَنِعْمَ مَالُ الصَّالِحِ. Correct? Pardon? Oh, dua from me. Oh, mashallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إنك تعلم أن هذه القلوب قد اجتمعت على محبتك والتقت على طاعتك وتوحدت على دعوتك وتعاهدت على نصرة شريعتك فوثق اللهم رابطتها ووثق اللهم رابطتها وأدم ودها وأهلها سبلها واملأها بنورك الذي لا يخبو واشرح صدورها بفضل الإيمان بك وجميل التوكل عليك وأحيها بمعرفتك وأمتها على الشهادة في سبيلك إنك نعم المولى ونعم النصير. Ya Allah, Engkau suburkanlah bumi Malaysia, Ya Allah. Engkau suburkanlah tanah Johor, Ya Allah, agar rakyat dapat merasai kenikmatan yang bukan hanya yang kaya semakin kaya, yang miskin semakin miskin. Sebaliknya, yang kaya membantu yang miskin membantu yang kaya dengan memberikan ruang zakat dan sedekah untuk mereka yang kaya. Ya Allah, kami mohon kepadamu, Ya Allah, agar rakyat Johor, rakyat Malaysia menjadi rakyat yang beriman yang bertakwa, agar diperluaskan rezeki daripada langit dan bumi, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, berikanlah ilham, berikanlah panduan kepada para pemimpin, Ya Allah, agar mereka memimpin rakyat ke jalan keberkatan, keadilan dan juga ketakwaan, Ya Allah. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wasallam. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ladies and gentlemen, I close my session with a hadith. Fa ni'ma malu salih fi yadi rajul salih. Means that the best way for a property or a wealth of a nation is within the hand of a people of salih. According to Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the meaning of salih is not only about integrity, but it is also about competency, so that the nation will be held within the axis of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mrs. Chairman, back to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to take a moment to present tokens of appreciation to our speakers and moderator. I'm honored to invite Encik Khairul Kamarudin, President and Chief Executive Officer, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, to present the token to Thank you very much, Encik Khairul Kamaruddin. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain in your seats as the photographer captures photo from the front of the seminar hall. Yeah, I would like to invite Encik Nataza Haris, Datuk Syed Muhammad Syed Ibrahim, Encik KK, Encik Asnul Hadi Yub Aziz for the photo session. Okay, please invite to be seated and take a group photo. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain in your seats as the photographer will capture photo from the front of the seminar hall. Esteemed guests and participants, as we conclude Malaysia's 2025 Economic Outlook, Johor as a catalyst for growth events, we sincerely thank you for your presence and support. It has been a valuable session and we look forward to Johor's continued role in driving Malaysia's economic success. Thank you once again for being part of this important dialogue. Let's work together to unlock the full potential of Johor and Malaysia's future. With that, we officially conclude today's event. Thank you for your time and participation. Lunch is served at level 23. Please help yourselves and enjoy. Before exiting, kindly validate your parking ticket or touch and go card at level 4 KOMTAR JBCC to enjoy a flat parking rate of RM5 per entry. Have a great day ahead. Assalamualaikum and thank you.